Alright, I'm at every nerd's dream. I'm at Comic-Con. But we're at the parking in the Ace parking lot, which, by the way, for any of you who want to come down here, I would advise getting a hotel or something in advance, because they charge you $50 if you don't pre-reserve your parking in advance. $50 just to park for the day. That is ridiculous. So if you were here all 4 days, if you didn't have a hotel, you could literally feasibly be paying $200. So just to park. So they definitely scraped the money in on this parking situation. So I'll catch you when we're back at the convention center in just a little bit. All right, we are at Comic-Con. We are in the convention center. It's a little bit of a pain to get everything figured out, and it's very, 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 very crowded, even on today. So we're gonna just kind of take video of show you guys what's going on.
580.
580.
All right, we are in the ballroom area right now, just kind of exploring before we head down to the convention area, just to look around and see what's going on. So, more kind of keeping our eyes open in case we see somebody. Here's the main floor. We've got the Tick Boutique, DC Collectibles, DC, and the Profiles in History, Billy Tucci, Neil Adams. So let's just kind of hop in and see what we can find. Yep. Alright, we are in a plushie booth. I just wanted to show you some of the stuff because I think it's kind of cool. You've got a Figment right there. You've got a Roger Rabbit and the baby that he deals with. You've got a bunch of, a lot of this is Disney. You got Jake, but you've got Cartoon Network ones too. You've got Spyro, and various ones like that. So I think this is pretty cool. You have the Haunted Mansion plushies right there.
The Country Bear is right next to it.
And the Country Bear plushies right next to that.
That's kind of neat.
So I just thought I'd show you some of this because that's pretty cool. This booth is called Tribble Toys. Pretty cool stuff in here to look at. The old retro style dolls. Action figures.
A lot of them are just superheroes.
Yep, I see that. It's pretty cool. Oh, Phantasm. I want to show you guys this because that's pretty cool. It's a Phantasm playset.
Over here.
Oh, excuse me. Really cool stuff. Vinyl Idol figures. So, pretty cool to look at.
Totally got me with that one.
Here is a bunch of plush, including Fat Pikachu.
Alright.
Yep, I miss you too.
Yes, we need to get some things off the wall.
Where's the turtle?
Alright, here is the Upper Deck booth, just so you can kind of see what they have. The Capcom booth, where they are showing Monster Hunter off. And the Smash Brothers. Or sorry, Smash. Yep. Resident Evil in there. So, cool. Here is Viz Media, and there is a giant Thanos that you can stand next to at the Lego booth with light up hands. He looks to be about, he looks to be about life size, so that's pretty cool. I think we'll get you a better shot of him as we walk by. Lego Blastoise and Squirtle. This is really cool for me as a fan of Blastoise. There's the Pokemon exhibit right there. That's really cool. Here by the Marvel, My Little Pony, Trolls, Hasbro, Transformers. We're in the Hasbro booth. So I thought you'd try to give you a shot. Pretty crowded, so it's hard to see for sure.
Right on. Cool. Thanks for joining us here. It's been a pleasure. Again, we'll be back on the main stage at 3:30 tomorrow.
White Power Ranger suit, or one of them.
Yeah, I told him so. I was like,
Bumblebee, yep.
wrap up like
The Deadpool Super Duper Dance Party. I don't know how well you can see it from here, but there it is. Here is the Dragon Ball dragon with the 7 Dragon Balls right above the Tamashii Nations booth, it looks like. So pretty cool.
I think it's part of Bandai.
Or part of Bandai, yeah. Here is Nickelodeon's booth.
Guys, I need a little line over here.
Green screen photo, 0 line, right there.
There is the Funko Pop booth that we will not be able to get in this year, because you need a
Excuse me.
ticket.
Going back to 36, walking in all that stuff down there already?
Keep walking.
Oh my god.
Alright, we are at the Escondido Westfield Shopping Town Mall. Let's just say Comic-Con got really crowded and really peopled out, and we were done pretty quick. So we're gonna go check out the exclusives here and see what we can find. Alright, hey, this is Rant and Robin.
And Digifox Cat.
We might be the only nerds who walked away from Comic-Con midday because we got a little bit tired of it, and personally, we want to give you a review that's different from what a lot of the nerds do, because we actually would give Comic-Con a thumbs down.
Yeah.
And we're going to tell you why. So, you've seen already what happened at Comic-Con. So, the parking was literally $50. They pushed us out to the Padres parking.
One of
many small lots. I think we were at the biggest one outside of the parking structures, but still.
Now the actual parking cost $50, which in my opinion is ridiculous for parking. Especially when you're already pumping out, and we only went one day, $68 with the handling fee, about $68 per ticket for the two of us that we had to, and then $50. There was no pricing that we could find online, nothing. So if you're watching this video, parking is $50. If you can make a reservation in advance, you can get it down to $30.
And be basically across the street if you're lucky.
In a parking garage, but that's only with advance thing, and you have to have proof that you made advance reservation. Talked about having some sort of invitation or paper or something that you had to have. Otherwise, you are told that you have to park in the Ace parking lot. Now, for those of you who go to WonderCon, who might be dreaming of going to Comic-Con, there was literally no signage on where we were supposed to go for the parking lot. And we ended up going in a circle around the area about 4 or 5 times before we found the entrance to the parking area that we were supposed to be at. And that was just, I honestly would say, pure luck or God's blessing, because I wasn't even sure where we were turning by the time we turned into it. The walk to the convention center, pretty self-explanatory, but you want to make sure that you're heading down with the streets getting smaller on your way there if you're coming from the Ace parking lots. Because the convention center is about 6th Street. A lot of maps will take you to 1st Street. You want to go over on 6th Street. I think 1st might take you in at the back or something of that sort.
I think that takes you over onto one end, the very far end of one side of it. This is a big building.
Yep.
I would say almost as big as an airport. That we're comparing it to an airport. Some of the airports we've been in.
Yeah, it felt like about 3 terminals of an airport like LAX.
Yeah.
The way it was set up.
It was big.
So as soon as we got there, as you can see from the video, we went and explored where they do the ballroom, where they do the signatures, the ballroom area.
The signatures and most of the panels.
Yeah, we explored that area, and then we came down and we spent most of our time on the floor of the convention center, on the exhibitors floor. Which
is probably 3 times as big as WonderCon if you've ever been there.
Yeah. Now, for the first 3 hours or so that we were there up until lunch, people were really nice, the place was really big, and as a nerd it was just really cool to be at a place that is literally this big. But when it came time for lunch, we had trouble finding a place to sit down.
Yeah. And also, outside of a pretty sure it was brand new Subway, there wasn't much in the way of cheap food.
Yeah, we brought grinders from
Yeah, we
our
brought
house.
food, and it took us quite a while to find a spot where we could sit down and eat that wasn't overrun with people.
Yeah, yeah. So then...
And that we could sit in conveniently, because I know some of the spots we were trying to get to, that, there's not a lot of people here, the people were getting kicked out if they were standing there too long.
Yeah, they weren't labeling where you were supposed to be for food. They had a cafe that you could go eat at, but you had to buy food. Otherwise, they really weren't labeling stuff, and that was one of our big things with it too. Now, after lunch, kind of the exhibit floor, now did we get our one souvenir there before or after lunch?
It was before lunch. We did find it before lunch.
Well, let's start with the beginning, the badge getting. The badge getting was pretty easy.
Yeah.
That part wasn't too bad. It was just a little confusing because about 90% of the entrances onto the main platform to get into the convention center required a badge. If you're there to pick up a badge, you're like, well, which stairway can I go up where I can actually get the badge? We think someone led us up one of the badge stairways because we just told them what we were doing.
Yeah.
But as a result, it was not. Once you get up there, it's labeled. You go to Terminal C, it's pretty well labeled once you're up there, but you do have to kind of follow this roundabout thing, and you end up in what looks like a greenhouse area almost, kind of outdoors, indoors with big skylight. And you get your tickets there. Everything went pretty quick to get the badge, and then to get the book, and then to get the to go ahead and get your other stuff. You could get a...
We should show that.
Pin. Yes. We'll show you the pin in just a second here. So each WonderCon bag, on the bottom corner of it, we got 2 separate ones.
There are 2 separate ones. This side looks like it's all the same, but I couldn't tell. And then this side was different CW property, or yeah, CW Warner Brothers properties. And then right here
Is a pen.
it's too big for me to hold up as a pen. And people were trading these pens, but we said, whatever.
I got Batman and she got Wonder Woman. I had the Arrow bag and she had the Constantine.
Apparently I had the Constantine book. This was inside the Arrow bag the entire time.
Yep. So, anyways, after that we did the tour of the thing. We went down into the exhibit floor, and like we said, after lunch, things kind of took a turn for the worse. Before lunch, we did manage to find, we like Funko Pops and collectibles, but we are trying to control ourselves more now. So we actually went through all of Comic-Con without buying a single Funko Pop because we felt that they were overpriced, which is kind of par for the course with that, and because we couldn't get into the actual Funko Pop booth because we didn't get a ticket because we registered past the ticket time.
Yeah, we'll talk about that a little bit later.
Yep.
But we did buy something at Comic-Con.
Yeah, this was something that Foxcat actually picked out.
A few of the booths, usually the comic book booths will have the graphic novels for big boxes of them, and we found this. It is the Figment book one, paperback, so it was in 50% off bin, so we paid basically $10 for it.
Yep, and like we said, that was the only thing we bought. So we had officially by this point spent about $200, and only $10 of it was actually on something. And after lunch, all of a sudden the crowd that had been so nice and kind kind of turned a little bit. Something just kind of clicked in people.
I think they were angry because they couldn't get food.
Probably. Anyways.
Or all the nice people left.
Either way, people were pushing. There was people walking into you. They didn't care. Many times over, we had guys, me and her, obviously trying to walk together, husband and wife. Pretty obvious that we're together. Our shirts were actually coordinated. You're wearing a different shirt now, but our shirts were coordinated. People would walk right in between us when we only had about a foot in between us, just because we had to get through an orderly thing, and people would cross right between us and then walk in between us for a very long distance. Workers were very rudely telling people to get out of the way in the middle of aisles if you'd stop for even a second.
Or you're trying to get around a big group that's gaping over a booth, and they've got huge cosplays that you can't get around.
And then large groups would stop in front of cosplays and start taking pictures while the rest of us are like being shoved into each other, waiting to try to get around, because their lines, for a lot of their booths that had lines, were also in the middle of the aisle.
Mm-hmm.
And there were those everywhere. They weren't just in one section. So let's talk a little bit about the positive, because it is the kind of thing that everybody wants to go to at least once. So we've given you an overview of the negative. Pretty well.
For the most part, yeah.
For the most part. The weather was nice, so the walk at least wasn't bad.
Yeah, being in San Diego from where we are actually at, it's about 10 degrees cooler. And you're right by the water.
Yeah, that's true.
So that helps a lot, especially with everything.
And once we got out, there was clear signage to the freeway.
Yes, we got to the freeway right away, and knowing the freeway systems, we were able to get home fairly easily.
Okay, so what was your favorite booth that we saw today? I know we didn't catch all of it on the video, but what was probably your favorite booth that we saw today?
I was actually kind of surprised how many art vendors there were. Blake had a booth there. Blake is a big company, probably say they had a booth there. Copic had a pretty decent booth. I have not gone into a Copic booth. I walked through one once, and it was really hard not to try to buy anything. But they didn't seem to have much in the way of sales or anything. And there was a few other like random companies that I saw, so that was kind of neat to see. I think I saw about 5 art booths of art supplies.
No, that probably, well, you have more pictures. I don't know if you took video today that'll be on here. But
no, I was taking pictures, but it was getting hard to even do that. I couldn't even stop some of the cosplayers. Not that there was too many in the morning. They all seemed to be there in the afternoon.
No, there wasn't really any cosplayers that we were catching in the morning, which is, well,
Well, then again, Thursday and Sunday are supposed to be the less crowded days, so if that was less crowded, I would hate to see what tomorrow and Saturday is going to be.
Yeah. Well, I will say that showing my conservative side, that it was nice that almost everybody was dressed pretty average on a day like today, because that is difficult for any of us guys who are willing to admit it. It is difficult, the amount of skin that you see at these shows, and can very often be a stumble for you, especially when you're trying to focus on, well, the right thing.
I think we get a lot more cosplayers at WonderCon because it is spring, so it's not as hot. Although we've worn enough costumes to know it's hot.
Yeah.
I mean, even in October, trying to do it around that time, it's hot here.
I think my favorite booth is, I pretty much enjoyed just kind of seeing the selection of Funko Pops that they had there. Even though most of them were outside of my price range, it was cool to see some of these. And in some cases, ones that I actually had on my list kind of went off my list once I saw them in person and went, okay, it's not really worth what it is.
Yeah, that's the nice thing of when you're going off of the picture of the internet, you really can't get a good understanding of what it looks like. So seeing some of the stuff in person, it took stuff off of our thing. One thing I did notice is there was a lot more like people selling retro toys.
Yeah, which
more,
those
like old Pokemon plushes. I could have easily bought I Choose You Talking Pikachu.
that first plush booth that we stepped in, where I showed the Figment on the video, and then also there was some Muppet stuff and a few other things. That's probably my favorite booth of the day, to be honest. So let's talk about, so we decided that we were going to, about 3 o'clock, we said, okay, we've seen most of the floor. We had just missed probably the top 3,000s of the booths. I say that for those of you who know the numbering of the building, we missed the 3,000s quadrant, pretty much. So we got most of the 4 and 5,000s and 1 and 2,000 booths. We just kind of missed a chunk of the 3,000. So
I don't think we could really get to most of them because it was just when you feel like you're a salmon.
And I was having a very hard time taking video, as you can see from how little video was taken. It was very hard to get a lot of good video today because there was just crowds everywhere. So we decided that we'd go out, and we had a list of what the malls were supposed to carry that was same stuff that the convention had, but a different tag on it for Funko Pops. So we went out and we bought a bunch of Funko Pops at the mall using the spending money that we would have spent at the thing. So let's go ahead and show you guys what we got. We'll start with our first trip to the mall, which we stopped at the Westfield Shopping Mall, Shopping Town Mall in Escondido.
Mm-hmm.
So let's show you what we got.
So first up, we got the Dorp set that is Captain America and Red Skull. And I think they're supposed to be Silver Age, but I'm not sure. You're more familiar on that one. So.
I would say most likely Silver Age because like
of his shield.
The shield and even the back of the head mask.
Yeah.
And stuff looks more simplified.
So there's the back of it.
But yeah, that's definitely Silver Age or that's like World War. Yeah, that's Silver.
I would say it's Silver Age. I think that's when.
Might even be back to Golden Age, but I can't remember. 40s.
Maybe.
I think they call 40s the Golden Age, but I'm not sure. But yes, that one was pretty cool. That was our Dorb for the year.
Yeah, and this one came from GameStop, and as you can tell, it's got the little sticker. Last year's was yellow and purple.
Yep, which we have some of those.
We do. I guess I can go through this bag. It's mostly me.
Yeah, I'll go through.
Okay, next up we went to Hot Topic and got some of their exclusives from the thing. So we have the vinyl set of Scott Pilgrim and Ramona. Scott's got the Sword of Love, and Ramona's got her pink hair. So like she was at the beginning of the movie, if you've seen the movie.
This completes our set of having all 3 colors of Ramona's hair.
Yeah.
So.
We still have one more Scott to get eventually, him with his guitar, but
Yep.
who knows when that's gonna come in. Next up is, oop, don't want that. We have Sailor Moon Black Lady. This is Chibi Moon when she gets manipulated into being a bad guy. So that was kind of cool. Always kind of liked her design on that, and she just got the regular box on the back on that one. And then we got, I don't know, what did she say? Valkyrie.
Movie version.
The movie version, but not the main one that goes with the set. Her hair is down, and I think she's actually in the Valkyrie uniform for this one.
I believe so, yeah.
I think the movie one was just her collector version.
Yep.
It was hard getting a box that wasn't kind of indented on the back.
When they're down to only a few boxes, you just kind of take the best that you
You
can.
take the best you can. And that was our first
Mall.
mall we
Yep.
went to.
That's not all we got, because we got some stuff at the second mall, which I'll go ahead and show you. We went down to Moreno Valley Mall. This was on our way home too, so we stopped off at the mall. For those of you who know the area, it's off Day Street. Nice mall. It has an FYE. That was the one store that we couldn't get to at the first one, other than Barnes & Noble, which we'll try to do at a later point.
Box Lunch also has some that are there. It's just we're limited on where we've got those too.
So we got this one. We have the other Weird Al Yankovic. This is the fat suit version. Again, the box is a little bit beat up, but for those who, this one was not, as you can see, it doesn't actually have a exclusive sticker or anything on it. This was just brought out right around the same time of the convention, and for those of us that were at the convention, this was their big sell on their table for FYE.
Yeah, they had this one and two others that they were really pushing. Oh yeah, we just got these in. So they were sort of convention exclusive, sort of not. It's just they happened to coincide with the
Now,
thing.
I will say this, I respect sellers on eBay. I've got some great deals from them in the past. But I do dislike the fact that some of them make it harder for those of us who collect Funko to be able to find them. There were two that we were unable to find today. But we eventually just sighed and went to eBay. They were at a pretty good price.
Well, yours was eBay. Mine was an actual website.
Yeah, that's right. So, I picked up, he hasn't come yet, but I've ordered him. I got the Red Hood. So I've ordered the Red Hood SDC exclusive. For those of you who don't know, he's part of Batman's family group. He's Jason Todd, the second Robin, who was believed to be dead by the hands of the Joker, who came back as the Red Hood, who is now kind of an anti-hero. He was released finally in his regular outfit of Red Hood. It's not the first Jason Todd to ever be released. Some would argue it's either the second or the third, because you've got Arkham Knight, spoiler, sorry, and then you
Everybody's played the game so far.
except me, but I know this already. And then also you've got Red X from the Teen Titans. There's rumor that he might be
that's just
Jason Todd.
mostly fan fury, but it has
been supported a little bit in the show.
Yeah, it has been
by
supported.
Beast Boy.
That one was originally supposed to be released at, well, it was released at GameStop. They said they sold out of that one, and the Mach 1 Iron Man very fast this morning.
Yep.
So, recommendation for next year, if you're not able to come, hit FYE, Hot Topic, Barnes & Noble, and Box Lunch, if you have those in your area. Amazon also has some. Entertainment Earth has some. That's where we got ours. We got the Looney Tunes character of the Penguin. He's called the Playboy Penguin. I didn't realize that was his name. He was in a few of the Bugs Bunny cartoons. So adorable. But he's not related to any of the Playboy company and the bunny girls and all that. They call him Playboy because back in the day, when you dressed up like that and you had a cute factor, they would consider you a Playboy.
Yep.
So that's why they call him Playboy Bunny. Wow. Playboy Penguin. He's a
Yep.
penguin, not a bunny.
So let me make you a further recommendation. Unless you just, I recommend that everybody that's an extreme, what I would consider nerd or geek, go at least once to have the experience. But I would recommend that in order to get all the exclusives, you don't go, and you just go to the stores right at opening, and you get them all right off the shelf at your local stores. Because in order to even get a chance at the Funko booth, you have to register early. Then you're entered into a lottery
to get a ticket
that may or may not be during the time you go unless you're there all 3 days.
Yeah. And I will say this, I did not like the fact that there were several ticketed booths. People were complaining that they wanted to ask a few questions about shows that they couldn't find information in, and you had some of the major network companies were ticketed booths, so you had to have a ticket to get in, or it was like super long lines. At one point in the morning, we passed by the Nintendo booth for the line for testing. Someone asked the worker at the end of the line, how long is the line? It's 2 hours just to get in to play a few minutes of the new Super Smash Brothers.
And we also weren't 100% sure whether they were actually limiting the people who were playing to allow other people to come in. So it was just we think after this many years, and again, you watch my channel, my name's Rant Robin, it's bound to happen at some point, but after this many years of holding a comic book convention that is well known to be worldwide and to invite people from all over the world, you need to design your area better in order to do this. And San Diego people, if you are listening, if you are in control of San Diego, if any of the authority for San Diego are listening, your city is designed very poorly around the convention center. You need to design parking that we can get to. You need to set up permanent signage for the area. And you need to set up, and you just need to have more parking and stop charging us $50 to park our car. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, even WonderCon this year, we had to park at the Anaheim Pond Honda Center, whatever you want to call it. It was only $22 to park there. Same as Disneyland.
And they gave us buses.
And we had buses. We did walk because we pretty much went to the end of the day. But that was our own fault for that.
That was our choice.
That was our choice.
This was half a mile, so I understand we didn't need buses.
Yeah.
But you need to label your parking because I spent about 20 minutes going around your city trying to figure out where I was supposed to park.
And not just have one sign that looks like a construction sign of where to park. You need to have multiples.
Yeah.
I mean, even LA was a little bit better. We've been there for 2 different cons, Anime Expo and WonderCon one year when it had to go there. Parking's a lot easier to get to there.
I could excuse this if this was your first con. I understand cons move around sometimes. But San Diego Comic-Con has been there for years. All the stuff should have been ironed out by now. And I'm not saying that everything on the floor doesn't get bigger. I'm not saying that there's not going to be issues. But the issues should not be about the layout of your city. So, this is Rant Robin. A little peeved. And spent way more money than I wanted to just to park and to go to Comic-Con. But I'm still here. Next time you see my face, hopefully it'll have a nicer smile and be a different place, instead of a more negative rant like I did today. So I apologize to those who are more used to a positive, upbeat channel, but you need to know that you're going to run into this stuff when you go to Comic-Con.
And the ranting part comes in, out sometimes.
Yep.
It's still there.
With some control. So this is Rant Robin. Next time you see my face, it'll be a much happier place. Talk to you later.